Oh, I hear the voice of my ancestors calling me. I hear the voice of my ancestors calling me. Wake up, they say wake up, listen, listen,
But
listen,
you were having a conversation, you
listen.
said, with someone,
May the
and
rivers
around
all
what
flow
does it take as an artist to sustain
clean.
yourself to make this
May
a
the
full-time
mountains
living? I
be
mean, because
unspoiled.
many artists,
May the air be.
their work just does not sustain them as of today. Like, they make money, but it's not enough for them to not have a full-time job, or at least convince their parents that they can do this full-time. So
Sure.
let's talk about that.
Yeah. So I have this conversation a lot. And yesterday, actually, I had this conversation with this young man who thought it was scary when I told him that I work from home and the time of day it was. And I was like, yeah, I'm on my way to work. And he was like, that's scary. And it was just interesting to me that the concept of not working for someone else was just like completely foreign to him. It was really interesting to me.
Yeah.
So, because I feel like I definitely have an entrepreneurial spirit. My father was an entrepreneur, so I feel like I definitely have that. But I think artists, in particular, because being an artist is so still looked down upon in so many ways. We're looked at as flighty, or people say, oh, you're not going to make money at that. But I think you just have to find ways to carve your own lane.
Yes.
And if you can do that, then I think you can make money from it.
Right.
But I think the key is to really find out what you're offering that nobody else is offering. And so really finding that niche and being available and saying yes. So what does that take, right? So that takes sometimes doing things that other people are not willing to do, and saying yes to things that other people are not willing to say yes to. And sometimes it can mean saying no to things that other people are not willing to say no to. So you might be up till 2, 3 in the morning working on a presentation or working on an art project, or you might miss. There might be some birthday parties that you miss. There might be some family events that you miss. Because you're creating this art, because you want to put this art out into the world. Never losing your vision, never losing, it's going to get loud because somebody just started their car. Not letting go of your dream, not letting go of your vision. I think you have to keep your vision in sight. For me, I always have to go back to what I feel God put on my heart at a very young age. Like, I was given images at a very young age. And so whenever I doubt myself or things are not happening as fast as I feel like they should happen, I go back to that and I say, this is something that was put on your heart, Zoe. This wasn't something you made up. It's not a fantasy. It's real.
Yes.
So I think the key is to decide what you think is real.
Right.
What is the world that you think is real? What is your reality? Now, this is a whole other different conversation, but, I believe we live in a holographic universe. Y'all can look up holographic universe on YouTube. But there's a lot of stuff about the holographic universe on YouTube. But I feel like so what does that mean? What does the holographic universe mean? It means that the world that you see in here, the world that you create, the world that you believe in, the world that you put energy, effort, emotion into, that is the world that you are going to manifest. That is the world you're going to live in, right? Yeah. So if you live in a world where your art makes you money, where you're meeting the right people, you're in the right place at the right time, if you're living in that world in your mind, and then you're doing concrete actions along with it, because it's not like just sitting there and being like, I'm imagining that, no, you got to do work too, right? So so action plus the proper mind training can pretty much put you on the road you want to be. I don't know if I answered your question.
No, you did. And so many things I want to talk about. You said a lot of really good stuff.
Okay.
I think with artists, you made an excellent point that oftentimes people want to create the work, but there's also effort. You have to put in the work to promote the work and to get yourself the gigs. No one's going to do it for you.
Right.
Just because you create it and you're like, oh, I wrote this song, or I have a book full of poetry, or whatever your art is, once you created it, that's one part of it. Now people have to know about it. And sometimes I find that artists get really upset because they're like, no one calls me, or I don't get invited to this event. And you ask, well, what are you doing to get there? What have you done? And if it's like, for me, I'm always pushing people to have some sort of marketing plan. I believe plans, we deviate from plans, but they serve as guidelines or guidance. And it doesn't have to be anything formal. The marketing is really about 4 things. It's about the product or service you are offering, and understanding what price you're going to charge for it, how you're going to communicate that to your customers, and where can they buy it. So if you have a plan around that, then people know what you have, what it can be, how it can benefit them, if they can afford it. But you have to work the plan. You definitely have to work the plan. So what's a typical day for you?
Yeah. So you said a lot of good things as well there. So I have a full-time
2 good
job.
people talking good stuff today.
So I have a full-time job.
Okay.
So my day consists of doing the work of that full-time job.
Right.
For the most part. And I'm not one of these writers that writes every day. Like, I have good friends that write every single day, and I'm so jealous of them. I don't write that way, usually. But, so I have to squire time away to work on my stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. I have to make time to do that. So I will do that at night, or I'll do it on the weekends. So now, my days or my time to my art consists of setting up these book signings, talking to people, researching, when the book first came out, like I said, since it was a surprise and since I didn't have a plan, right? I just was like, okay, I'm gonna get this book out, but I didn't have a plan. And so you're absolutely right. You have to have a plan.
Yeah.
And so now a lot of my time spent researching, how do people get the word out about their books? What do people do? What makes a successful book? I watch a lot of Tony Robbins and people like that, right? Who talk about what it takes to be successful.
Right.
I was saying I'm in a research phase, and I also just started a writers group. We read each other's writing, we critique each other's writing, and that has also been really helpful. So I would say for folks to get in groups like that, right, where you're actively in the process of writing. Since I don't write every day, it's really good because I have a set date. I know I'm going to have something written by then. I know it's going to be reviewed by somebody else. And so that's been really helpful. Yeah. And I would also say the other thing I'm doing is looking at how I can be more involved in my community, which is why I'm doing the event on June 21st, because I want to be involved in an artistic way in my community. Yeah. So I was like, I'm just going to start something.
And let's talk about, because that June date in New York, you said that you just went in and basically said this is what you wanted. Is that?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. So it's a coffee shop that I go to all the time. And one day he told me that come summer, he's getting a liquor license. He wants to do wine. He wants to do karaoke. He wants to have poetry readings. So he said that to me. And then I started getting really excited. And I didn't say anything to him then. But I immediately went home and posted on Facebook, hey, thinking about doing an open mic in Brooklyn, would people come? And so people got back to me and they were like, yeah, that's something I'd come to. I'd come to something like that. So I was like, okay. So I kind of plotted and planned and schemed for like 3 weeks to a month and was like, got my ideas together. And then I went back to him 2 weeks ago and I was like, hey, Keyshawn, I want to do a poetry thing in June. Or no, I didn't say in June. I said, I want to do a poetry thing this summer. Would you be open to that? And he was like, yeah, I think that's a great idea. And I was like, oh, good. I already have a date. I was like, I already have a date. I want to do it on June 21st. And this is my idea. And then he was like, oh, so you knew I was going to say yes, right? I said, no, I didn't know if you were going to say, I didn't know if he was going to say yes, but I just wanted to be prepared.
Right.
Just in case he did say yes. So, you know, I already had the night all planned out in my head. So that's the other thing, preparation. So one of my coworkers asked me last week how I do so many things. Mm-hmm. You know, she's like, how are you doing all the things you do? And one of the things I told her, and that was a great question for me because I never really thought about it, but I said to her, I just immediately act on things. When spirit downloads something to me, I immediately act on it. Yeah. Unless if I'm going back and forth, then obviously it's not something I'm really excited about. Right. But it's like when spirit tells me to do something, I just move. Yeah. Just move, you know? Yeah.
And it works. And you should definitely. In one of the workshops that I conduct, the business of my art, really work with students in terms of, and artists in particular, of having a vision. Like you got to know where and what you're trying to accomplish. And that evolves as you evolve. So it's not a finite, oh, this is what I want to do. It'll evolve. So it'll continuously change as you grow. Then having goals, but that goals have to be aligned with the vision. Because if it's not aligned with the vision, then you're just wasting time on stuff that really, I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't set goals for other things, but I find that people spend a lot of time doing things that's not going to help them accomplish their vision. Oh, and then that third piece is networking and getting the necessary support groups to help you with your vision. And it's not always the people who can open the doors, even though you need those. But it's also those who could just, the motivators, because you need someone who's like, hey, I'm cheering you on. Yeah. Financially supporting you. So you're living out what often I try to teach people in terms of what they need to do. Something else you mentioned, the guy said that he found it surprising that you were working from home. Yeah. And I've been doing research on virtual organizations. So even if you're not an entrepreneur and you have a company, we're living in a time now that we're getting out of you have to be in a certain place or particular place to do the job. That's also letting go of that mindset that what's considered a hard worker is someone who comes in, you know, early in the morning and leaves out late at night. I believe time is not linear. I think it's what we make it. And so if you have to do your art or planning at 2 a.m, that's when you do it. Or 5 a.m. It shouldn't matter. We just got to shift this mindset of what work looks like. So does your job support your artistry and all the other stuff you do?
My job does support my artistry, which is so funny. So last year we performed at the White House event, the United States of Women's event. Okay. So the main event that happened on June 15th, Barack Obama spoke, Michelle Obama, Oprah, all these people. So we weren't at that. We were there. Actually, I was actually there to see them, which was phenomenal to see. Like Oprah interview Michelle Obama was crazy. But then we performed the next day. And my boss, yes, my CEO, did the music so that we could perform. Because typically I do the music, I don't perform, but one of our performers wasn't able to make it. So, so my boss ran the music. And nice. So, yeah. And so, you know, they're mad supportive. You know, she's been to my poetry readings. She has more than allowed, it's really not even allowed, but when we do our different trainings and things like that, I typically will open the events that we do with healing exercises, with self-care exercises. My healing work has been incorporated into the job, and healing has also been more incorporated into the job because my CEO has taken on a self-care approach herself. And so our organization is also shifting.
And so that's another thing is for artists is to find jobs that will support the work you do. And especially if you're able to integrate what you do with the job. So what's the future plans for you?
So future plans for me are to have many, many, many more book signings. Many more book signings. I want 20 speaking engagements by next year, minimum 20 speaking engagements for the book. I want at least 10 performances of Ashes for 2018. So that's what I'm looking at. More retreats next year. This year just got so crazy and away from me that I'm not able to do any retreats this year because I really need to focus on the book. So that's what I'm doing for 2017. But 2018, my goal is to do more retreats, more acting. So my play is in the process of, we're doing work with Brown University.
Okay.
And so shifting the play. So my goal is to do my rewrites on that play. Right. And those are really my goals, to just get this book out there in a huge way, to have a major impact on my overall big goal is to have a major impact on the way people see life, the way people see themselves, to help folks shift their thinking, their core beliefs, how they deal with the trauma. That is really my is to create a major shift and to have my voice lift. I want to lift us out of this collective consciousness that we're in. Yeah. You have a lot of non-folks of color that are like a Tony Robbins, like a Dr. Dwyer when he was alive, like a Doreen Virtue. You have a lot of folks that are not people of color having these conversations about the holographic universe and about how our thoughts impact our reality. But you don't have a lot of Black folks out here having that conversation or leading that conversation. I want to introduce that conversation into the Black community, into communities of color as a whole. Yes. Because I feel like we need to be talking about the collective consciousness. We need to be talking about our core beliefs and why we don't need to put, constant negative images of ourselves out on the Facebook for everybody to see. Why we need to shift our thinking so that we can lift ourselves up out of this this conundrum. Yes. This well-planned conundrum that we're in.
Yes. No, I love it. And that's you when you have that kind of vision, then everything else will align itself. But you have to know that's what you want to do. We need to quantify it because it becomes tangible. It's easy for us to say, did I accomplish that? And it doesn't mean that you limit yourself, because a lot of artists would think, I just want all these book signings. I want to do these tours. But being able to say, I want 20 book signings next year, it's not that you're limiting yourself to 20, but you're saying, this is the goal. So if I exceed it, great.
Minimum.
But this is my minimum.
It's the minimum. That's my minimum. That's what I wrote down in my planner that I just bought yesterday, on the day before yesterday, because I had to go back to paper because the phone is just not. Yeah. Okay. So a minimum of 20, which is good for folks. Yeah. Set yourself at a minimum, or you can say, when you're trying to manifest, you can say this or something better. Yes. Right? So I want what I'm experiencing now, because again, we want to be in the present moment. We want to find goodness in the present moment, because the present moment is where you have most of the opportunities for possibilities. You only have possibilities in this moment. And there's a boundless amount of possibilities that you can manifest and experience, right? It's just focusing on that, right? So this or something better. So this experience that I'm having, I want this or something better going forward.
Yes, I love that. This or something better.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we want for you, this and something better. Thank you for including the business of my art as part of your journey, because that's what we want from you, this or something better. It's what we want for our audience, this or something better. It's what we want for ourselves, this or something better. We're all evolving and shifting and doing more community work. And when we are aligned, doing the things that we're supposed to be doing, then watch out. There's going to be some amazing healing that happens because someone is waiting on you. Someone needs to hear you speak. Someone needs to see your play. Someone needs to read your book. Someone needs to attend the retreat. Someone needs to hear this word. Someone who's going to hear it today. Just, in terms of what you said about meditation and being in the present, giving people ideas and research material, where to go and research things, giving them hope and inspiring them about what they can accomplish and how you can manifest things. It's been a blessing to me. So I know it's going to be a blessing to whoever watches this.
Okay. Maybe that's the next book.
The next book, yes, because you got to have that. Like that has to be as you stay in the present, there does have to be a vision about what tomorrow looks like.
Yeah.
So we work the present, right? We discuss things for the present, but we're always thinking about the next thing.
Yeah.
And so that's how we continue to grow and we don't get stagnant or lose out. Because the other thing I've seen is that people get an idea and they manifest that idea and they work that idea until it is no more, and then they have nothing else in the pipeline. And it takes them a very long time. Now, I want to be careful in that I believe, because the business of my art is an idea that's just going to keep going and growing. And I have had a workshop that I've done for years, but it's not the only thing that I have. And so thinking about what happens next, understanding if it reaches an expiration date. If you're a painter and you're painting, you create this masterpiece, do you just live off that one masterpiece or do you try to create another one?
Yeah.
And it's different for everyone, but it's different for everyone.
That's true.
So I'm all for your masterpiece. Creating the next masterpiece.
Creating the next thing. Well, look, I'm going to try to live off this for a while. And then.
Exactly. Think about the next thing, but stay present, right?
Yeah, I'm going to try to live off this for a while. And, we'll see what happens.
Exactly. And I have to say this, it's funny because you mentioned Tony Robbins, and this is a true story. I don't know how long ago, it's a very long time, when I was trying to figure out what I'm supposed to do. I was lying on the sofa, I fell asleep, and the spirit woke me up and said, listen. And I was like, what am I listening to? And it was like, listen to the TV. This is what you're going to do. And I looked up, and it was Tony Robbins. And he was speaking. And I was saying, I could do that. So I've had, a career in speaking. But it's just funny that you brought him up because you're right. There are not a lot of people that look like us that's out there talking about different things, and it's time. We have Les Brown, but he doesn't talk about the science aspect, the aspect of the brain.
And Tony Robbins is just in my mind, but there's so many others. But one of the things that, because I happened upon his documentary last year that he did on Netflix, and I was like, why haven't I been listening to Tony Robbins all this time? I guess I just wasn't, I would see things and I'd be like, but it was just the right time, right? But one of the things I love that he does that I now incorporate is he does this whole energy shift thing. So before I go to speak, I do this whole thing to get my energy up for me to go speak. Because before, I'd have a training for work, and it's the training I've done 100 times, so I might not be super excited about it. I'd just go do it, right? But then after that, it was like, oh, I see what he does. And so I would intentionally shift my energy to go do my training so that I bring the same energy to a work event that I might bring to a book signing event. Because that's the other thing we do. If it's something that we might not be 100% excited about, we just sleepwalk through it. And that can be an energy block. That's something that I really have to work on. Again, is being 100% okay in the present moment and not living in this, oh, I'll be excited when this happens. Oh, I'll be excited when I'm speaking to 100 people, not when I'm speaking to 15. That mindset is not going to get you to that 100 people. I need to be grateful right where I am. So if it's 5 people or if it's 500, I'm bringing that same energy, that same gratitude, etc. And so I feel like that was really good for me to see Tony Robbins do. But this technology, because I'm a nerd, so I like to go back and say, okay, what were they saying in the 1800s about this? Because they were talking about our thoughts in the 1800s. So there were people back then, Florence Scovel Shinn, Emily Cady, like these people that are way, way, way back in the 1800s talking this same stuff. And using, especially in the case of Emily Cady, using biblical references to link back to your thoughts, create your life. So she actually would pull out verses from the Bible and then match it up. So so there's lots of stuff out there.
But I ain't gonna do the research.
I ain't gonna give too many more examples because that needs to be in my next book.
I know, right? People are gonna feel like they've already attended a workshop.
They already know, right?
We want you.
No, I've been giving away too much free information. We want you. Tony Robbins about to make $50 million more because of this YouTube video.
So, Tony Robbins, if you get hits because of this, just remember Zoe and I invite us to your next event. She gave you major love. Seriously. Gotta tell my ancestors to tell your ancestors to, invite us to be a part of your next event.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'll accept that.
And I will say this, the being present, when I was in sales, one of the things the owner of a particular IT company I worked for said, to treat the client who paid $1 the same way you would treat clients that paid $1 million.
Yeah. Because
if you start treating them different, you're going to lose a part of you. And so I always took that it didn't matter if I was meeting with a multi-million-dollar client or if I was meeting with a client who was scraping to pay, to treat them the same. And I think the same thing when you said about the audience, the size, whether it's 15 or 15,000, if you have that same amount of energy for each, I mean, you should give to them what you give to the others. And I would say, having spoke for thousands of people, I actually prefer the 15. because you could do a lot more. So as someone who channels, there's a lot more energy you have to deal with when there's 1,500 people in the room.
Yes.
So, but grateful for it all. But we something else Zoe and I've been working on, and I've tabled it for a minute, and it's gonna come out when it's time to come out. And I'm not even gonna say what it is, but I am manifesting that Zoe and I, along with some other soul shifting sisters, are going to be doing some things in the very near future to bring a lot of greatness to a stage and to universities, and so that people can see more brown speakers and leaders and artists and entrepreneurs and especially women of color doing some things out here. So
absolutely. Stay
tuned. And if you're intrigued, then hit us up, and we may share with you if you can help us along the journey. If you feel like you're called,
point us to some sponsors.
Right.
Some sponsors, if you were, a Delta or the Delta or the fraternity,
AKA Zetas, Alphas.
You want us, the Kappas, the Omegas.
Exactly.
Find us.
It'll be worth your while. So how can people get in touch with you?
Sure. So folks can find me on Instagram. My Instagram is IamZoe Flowers. Please check out my YouTube videos. My YouTube is also IamZoe Flowers. Facebook, IamZoe Flowers. Twitter is Divine by Design. So I'm all over
Flowers on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitter it is Divine by Design.
Correct. And you can just put Zoe Flowers into it's best if you put Zoe Flowers domestic violence if you're doing a Google search. You can also visit my website, which is soulrequirements.org, SOUL requirements.org, and that will give you an overview of my work, what I do, etc. If you want to buy the book is available on Amazon and also on Balboa Press. If you're watching from Connecticut and you're around Glastonbury, you can purchase my book right here at Down to Earth Bookstore because they are selling it here.
Yes, and you're going to be there on June
9th.
June 9th in Connecticut. So let's go with those dates one more time. So Shout out Connecticut, June 9th. And who's after that?
On June 3rd, I will be at the YWCA of Glendale in California.
So Southern California, come out.
Southern California, love to see you in the house. I may be going back to California in November, so it's possible that I'll be doing another book signing there in November. But for sure, I will be there on June 3rd at YWCA of Glendale, June 9th here in Glastonbury, 21st at Brooklyn Blend Coffee in Bed-Stuy.
So if you're in Brooklyn or the New York area, Newark, New Jersey area, anyone in that surrounding area, make your way there. And that's June 21st, correct?
Yep.
21st.
Yep. Oh, I forgot another one. Oops, sorry. Sorry. May 27th, I will be here in East Hartford, Connecticut at the Holiday Inn.
Nice.
We're a Dreamers Unite event. So that will be a showcase of dreamers and artists. So yeah, it should be, I'll probably have these posted on my website fairly soon. So after May 15th, go to soulrequirements.org and all of those dates should be on my website.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So coming to a city near you, and again, in Atlanta in August, right? If you want to host Zoe, if you have a book signing or bookstore, coffee shop, event, doesn't matter, universities, you'd like to get her there. It's a powerful book, and she would love to come. So just connect with her. You got many ways to contact her. And it's always my pleasure. I never want these conversations to end.
I know.
But I guess we do have to end them.
We do. We can't just talk forever.
Right. People stop after a while, they say. But until the next time, right? So for those of you who want to get in touch with the Business of My Art, you can find us on Facebook at The Business of My Art. We're also on YouTube at The Business of My Art, and Twitter is Business of My Heart without the "the." For SoulShifting Retreats, go to www.soulshiftingretreats.com. So we're just ecstatic to have IamZoe Flowers. Thank you again for being here. Such an amazing spirit. She's doing some great things, manifesting some things, and let's help her meet those 20 signees next year and above, as well as what she has for this year. And Tony Robbins, get with us. So
I love that you put that there. That's great. Thank you so much, Stephanie. It's been so good. So good. I appreciate you so much. Such a great conversation.
Same here. Thank you. Take care, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
May the rivers all flow clean. May the mountains be unspoiled. May the air be pure. May the trees grow tall. May the earth be shared by all. Oh, I hear the voice of my ancestors calling me.